You put the
That's something I was wondering is that if you when you get home, if you're tired of cooking or if you still enjoy.
Oh, I love it. I do more cooking at home than anywhere else. I'm officially kicked out of the restaurant kitchen, basically. I have an amazing team that I give them free will. So my times are spent mostly at home and then doing things like this and then making other moves. So it gives me time to cook a lot at home.
Okay, so we're going to get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to AAPI Communities in Conversation. It's a series of live online conversations between writers, creators, and librarians that centers Asian American and Pacific Islander books, voices, cultures, and experiences. This monthly program is hosted by the University of South Carolina's Augusta Baker, Endowed Chair, Publishers Weekly, and Penguin Random House, Library Marketing. My name is Michelle Young, and I'm the branch manager at the Waimea Public Library on the island of Kauai, which is part of the Hawaii State Public Library system. And on the island of Maui, we have the pleasure of introducing our special guest, Sheldon Simeon. Sheldon is a James Beard finalist. Congratulations for the prestigious Best Chef Award. He's a Top Chef fan favorite, and he's the author of Cook Real Hawaii from Clarkson Potter, a dynamic cookbook by a dynamic chef. Sheldon, thank you for joining us today. Our library and publishing colleagues are excited to hear more about you and your book. So I'll start by asking you to tell us about what inspired you to write Cook Real Hawaii.
Oh, man. Well, first off, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Early morning here in Hawaii. What inspired me to make this cookbook, Well, growing up, I never thought I'd ever have a cookbook. I was not the most studious type, right? You lucky you got me to read a full book, let alone write one. I was more of a doer, hands-on kind of guy. As I traveled around the country, I had this opportunity with me being in this weird celebrity chef circle kind of thing. I got to go into many kitchens and see and meet many cooks across the country and listen to their stories, And after they tell their stories, I get to hear, they always ask, so what's Hawaii cooking, right? And then it was interesting to hear what their idea of Hawaii cuisine was. It's very flashy and kind of like amusement parkish, so to say, right? They think of hula girls and they think of tropical Mai Tais and all of that. And it led me to start asking some questions. And then with the nudge of my wife, Janice, my media people and a few notable people, there's like, why don't you write this book? I want to give this opportunity. And here we are, got to tell the story of, what really is Hawaii cuisine.
Yeah, it's very unique. And I have a copy right here. It's just gorgeous. And I like all the little sidebars with that kind of tell about the people and the place and not just the food, but it's like a holistic kind of cookbook.
Yeah, I want to shout out to Garrett Snyder, who was the co-author of this. And I couldn't have a better person to work with. And together we were able to, tell those unique stories, tell these moments of my upbringing that was so unique to myself, being so close, sometimes to it that you you take for granted what you have around you. And as we start to do research and we tell the history, it was so unique, and I'm just so proud of it. And I'm proud of the team that put it together. And we have this amazing book that we get to share with everyone now.
Mhm. Actually, that was one of the questions I had for you later. It was like, what was it like writing the book with Garrett? And how did you, balance, like keep your voice, and then like, I don't know, how did you approach it together?
Well, the process took like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
It started with a conversation in San Francisco, but I was running a busy restaurant at the moment. I was opening up a restaurant that was, we threw everything in the kitchen sink at it, that this restaurant, Lineage restaurant, was going to be amazing. It was a full build out, lots of research. So we had that. And then a father of 4, that's kind of, another thing. So writing this book was, one of the most, craziest journeys ever. But it was many late nights of conversation, some very deep conversation, sometimes me tearing up, holding a pillow in the in the back patio. I'm not gonna lie. And then it was invigorating to be able to just like really go in depth and do a lot of research in it. And Garrett came down to Hawaii a few times to see the sights and the sounds. There's just some things that you have to be here to observe, and the reason why. We had amazing spots that we could shoot at when Kevin Miyazaki came out. We were at this spot Ala Kukui in Hana that was just beautiful, where we could just like focus on the book. Traveled to Hilo, traveled all over Maui, and it was fun. We made it happen wherever we could. One day we're shooting in my backyard and it downpoured all on top of my ingredients, like everything on top of it. But and those are the behind the scenes stuff that we get to talk about. That's why we're so proud of this book. We know what it took to get it to this point.
Well, congratulations. It's a beautiful book. And how did you curate the recipes or that you included?
Yeah, so a lot of these recipes are like family recipes, childhood favorites, also Hawaii favorites that was gonna, and then it's literally like the journey of my cooking, right? And learning from my family, then going to what I experienced growing up here, then going through my different restaurants that I got to work at, working at Aloha Mixed Plates, going to culinary school in Oahu and here, traveling to South Carolina and Seattle for Top Chef, opening up all these other restaurants from Star Noodle and Lineage. So all of that, all coming here. One thing that was always the view of it was that it was all focused Hawaii. It was all influenced by here, Hawaii, growing up here, living here, all of that.
I think that kind of answers another question I had for you, which is, every superhero has an origin story. So I was wondering if you could tell us about your origin story as a chef. And you kind of mentioned, a little bit about your journey, but I was wondering if there's other things you wanted to add.
Well, Michelle, yes, you uncloaked it, and I am a superhero. I am forged in the flames. No. Oh man, I am just so blessed that I get to be the voice of so many of my family members and friends, and just like people who just grew up in Hawaii, that there's so much that is everyone, I think the whole world knows Hawaii. How to say that? Like Hawaii has been painted in so many different canvases, but it's been painted in a way that everyone has a view of it. Unless you grew up and live here, you cannot see those small little intricate details that makes this place paradise. So I guess my superhero power is being able to share the stories of Hawaii. That's it.
You've kind of talked a little bit about growing up and your family. I was wondering if you could share a favorite food-related memory from childhood.
Oh, shoots. Food-related. My family was the family that cooked for large parties. Those of you tuning in, like here in Hawaii, we celebrate some milestones. One of them is first birthdays, large gatherings for first birthdays. Another is high school graduation, and then weddings. So Simeon family, my household, cooking for 400, 500, 600, 700 people parties. That's that is a very common thing. And I remember as a kid, just like being able to sit next to my dad and my uncles. It's usually like the uncle, like the men in Filipino families do most of the cooking. The aunties are the ones that is the gangsters. They know what's up. They'll come in and they'll taste everything. But the men do the brunt work of it all. Well, at least mostly what I grew up with. But we have these large silyases, which is these large Filipino wok. And my dad would fashion these large aklo, which is a ladle or a stirring thing. And I remember being, 3 foot, 4 foot tall, and holding these ladles, these aklos that are just as tall as me, even longer, and being able to stir the pork and peas. And that was like one of those moments. I was like, this is so cool. And I always wanted to do that. And I was fortunate to be brought up in that environment, which led to, I guess, me. Also, my brother is also a chef too. That was our lifestyle.
That's a really good visual, like seeing you, a little boy, like with the big,
so
big ladle. Yeah.
I recently got to go back to the Big Island. Unfortunately, it was for my auntie's life celebration, but I got to hold those same aklo. My dad just finished, just specifically for this celebration. He sanded it down, he polished it all up, and I got to cook with it again. And it was just, you look at it and you just see so much memories and how many people we fed from that.
It was the same one?
Same exact, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I look forward to that. My dad has all of these cooking equipment that we still cook out of. One of the silyases that he has was from when my grandfather brought back from the Philippines. So it's what, 80 something years old at this point.
Wow.
maybe even more, and it's still in beautiful condition, and we still use it to this day. Yeah.
Speaking of your dad and auntie, is there a special dish that one of them or someone else used to make that you've tried to copy but just cannot quite do it? Or
so in the book I talk about Mickey noodles, and the Mickey noodles is I like to describe it as a chunky Filipino chicken noodle soup, but the noodles are more prevalent, but it is boiled down in a chicken with a natto seed broth. And it's something that my mother used to make. My mother passed away right as my oldest daughter was born.
Sorry.
16 years ago. But she'd always make these Mickey noodles. And I make it. I tried to keep on replicate it for years. And then I was like, I'm never gonna make it how mom makes it. So I kind of took inspiration from other things, and I do it the way I do it, and hopefully my family carries on that tradition too, the way that I do it. So, but Mickey noodles, and it's perfect. I'm looking outside, kind of would be a perfect day for some Mickey noodles.
Yeah, I watched, I think you made a video for a YouTube channel or Munchies.
Yeah, munchies.
And I sent it to my husband, kind of like a hint, like I hope you make it.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Yeah, that one's a different hack. We use I love making ham hock broths, which is like another great hack. If you guys want to make like the base of any type of stew or noodles, just boil down some ham hocks and you have this amazing, flavorful broth to start your dish in.
When you competed on Top Chef, how did your background growing up Filipino American in Hawaii influence the way you approached your challenges?
Oh man, if you watch the first season and the second season, there's like a night and day difference. But you know, when I went on there, I was very intimidated, especially on that first episode. So I'm a kid. Well, I'm not a kid anymore. I felt like I was a kid on that show, and you know, I cooked at a plate lunch spot. I worked at a local noodle house, and I only went to community college. It wasn't even culinary arts when I went. It was just like food service, and you know, I didn't cook in any fancy spots. I look across the stage, and there's, you know, people who have Michelin-starred restaurants and cooked in Paris and New York and all of that. And I was intimidated. I was very intimidated. But that first challenge, we came out on top, and I was influenced. I got to make ponzu. I got to make, you know, a vinaigrette, and we did some sashimi, and it was very Hawaii influenced. And I was like, you'd be proud about our food. You know, our food can stand up to these spots that is showcased in shiny magazines and movies and all of that. You know, each food has their own uniqueness, and I really stuck to that. I really stuck to being able to be proud of the food that we have, especially here in Hawaii. It's a blend. It's a blend of all these different cultures, but that blend somehow kind of all stays together, that we can, you know, celebrate each one of those ingredients, those cultures. And I get to do that every day with my food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something that struck me, like in the video I watched of the Mickey noodles, is like, you know, all the immigrants who came, like, you know, Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, like they were trying to recreate the dishes they grew up making or eating at home, but then like not all the ingredients were available here, so they had to like improvise. Do you find yourself improvising a lot, or?
Yeah, and you start as I travel around, right? Like food senses and food memories. So that's like one of the most vibrant memories that you can have. You'll taste something and you immediately compare it to something that you've had in the past. And you know, as I travel around the world, I see myself always doing that. And it was never more present than when I traveled to South Carolina, basically in Charleston, and seeing, you know, some of the Southern foodways down there. And it just like, it hit so close to home. I was like, it's amazing how all these foodways kind of intertwine. And again, I'm so lucky to be growing up and live in Hawaii, because we live in a place that we celebrate everyone. We celebrate, and I'm staring, I have kimchi and miso, and I have, what else I have I have pickled mango and manapua in my refrigerator right now. It's like all these different cultures, and it all lives in harmony here in Hawaii.
That leads me to another question. Speaking of improv, do you still bomb in the kitchen even as an experienced chef? And if so, like how do you deal with it? Or
bombing in the kitchen, yes, more often than than televised. It's those that's those learning moments. Like you get too comfortable of doing the same things and all of that you have to take chances, and you have these moments. And then I cook at home, life gets in the way. And sometimes I'm cooking. I take a phone call, and then kids need help with something, and you forget that something's in the oven and it burns. But
Oh.
yeah, in the restaurant, I tell the cooks, it's like you kind of dwell in that moment. You have to look at each moment as a learning experience. Like if we're not making mistakes, that means we're not taking chances. So every mistake is an opportunity to learn something from it.
I like that. It's good for all of life too.
Yeah.
I was wondering, how do you take local Hawaii foods and make them your own? Like, and at what point do you feel like you've put your own touch on a recipe?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I got some culinary training. I also look at trends, and I also am a person that if I see a dish, I don't know about you, but when I eat a dish, right? I had a conversation with my wife. She saves the best bite for last. I'm taking the best bite first too. So, when I look at local cuisine, I exaggerate the part that I like of a dish the most. Take my Kobe ribs. I love when it's like overly sweet and candied and it can get caramelized. I was like, let's marinate it for 3-4 days and let's see what happens. And that's just like those little things, how I tweak. I want to keep the authenticity of a dish. Well, let's see what happens when we take it to another level. And yeah, that's how I always want to honor it, but I'm always has that chef and the mischievous mind of minds of like, what if, what if we apply this to it? Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, going back to the book, I was wondering if you could tell us like what do you think makes like for a strong cookbook? If you're advising people like regular cooks at home, like if when they go to the store and look at cookbooks, like what things would you recommend looking out for in the recipes that would make you more successful?
Things in the recipes that make you successful cookbooks. Always first look for cookbooks things you want to eat. Yeah, and that intrigue you, and then see if you can. There's so many things that you can reference it now, so it doesn't particularly have to be the book. But if it's something that you see, you can get ingredients for. Now you can get ingredients anywhere though. If it's there's techniques in it that will make you a better cook. Like properly learning how to boil an egg. I love that, like things like that in a book. But basically, if the book intrigues you, go for it. And if there's stories on top of it that usually come from a place of history instead of just like, oh, I made this book because it's cool and creative. But if there's history to it, those recipes have withstood the test of time, and they've gone through many hands and many mouths to get it into where it led into that book. So I always like to gravitate to those books that have an influence of history. And because that's a great start, because it's already withstood the test of time.
Do you have any like 2 or 3 cookbooks you would give to like a new chef or like newlyweds or like a housewarming for people to kind of start out?
Yeah, and let me grab some that is right behind me. I'll do one. we'll go with Gregory Gourdet. This is a great one that just came out. My friend from Portland, Gregory, every day, everyone's table, which is awesome because he traveled. His cuisine is so global, and he's a very, very skilled and technical chef, but he made a book that is meant to be cooked at home. So that's what I love about it. And he has all of those small little techniques that make you a better cook. I don't have it with me. Yes, it feels a little out of place, but the French Laundry Cookbook, just because what that restaurant has done for the culinary scene. Yes, you might not be cooking like that at home, but it tells the process of what it took to get to a recipe that makes you a better cook. And like those things that you look out for when you're cooking a piece of protein, a fish, it tells you down to the very distinct second of how to prepare a dish. So as you're reading through those processes, you're learning to become a better cook. And then finally, cook real Hawaii. We really thought cook real. I love beautiful cookbooks, don't get me wrong, but if you're not gonna cook out of a cookbook and it just sits on your coffee table, for me, that is not the type of cookbook that I wanted to make. I wanted something that's gonna get stains in it, that people can reference to, that people can come home from work, is like, I don't know what to make. Oh, there's those garlic noodles that I can make. There's a spam musubi. There's these simple, delicious recipes that a lot of them have come up because of, by necessity. So like everyone's busy. Everyone has these moments that they have to go through. Those Cook Real Hawaii is for those real living people that are doing things with their life that they're so busy. A lot of those recipes are so easy to follow.
Yeah, I saw it at my local Costco over here, and I was happy to see it. And I hope a lot of people pick it up.
Yeah,
has good,
I still yet. Oh my God. I think I might have had a lady judge me the first time I went to Costco because I was tearing up in the in the book aisle. I was like, yeah. She's like, I was hoping that she's, yo, what's up? Why, are you good or something? Or asking for a hug. But it was surreal, for real, to be able to see my book at Costco. And it's still yet I'm there. I get to look at it, and yeah, it's something that we're very, very proud of.
And I also wanted to ask, besides the publication of Cook Real Hawaii and being named a finalist for the James Beard Award for Best Chef in the Northwest and Pacific, is there something else that you're currently celebrating in your life? And also, like, what kinds of projects are you looking forward to next?
I'm celebrating that no moment of time in my life that I'm being a father. I'm being a husband, and that is before the chef title. And I can say that proudly. And I went to my son's first basketball game the other day, and I'm excited to talk basketball with him. Like this morning, he wakes up and I get to make breakfast for my kids and make them lunch and all of that. And, I was excited to go pick my wife up at the airport when she just got back from San Francisco yesterday. And, there's all these moments that was coming up as a chef that I would never have that. I'd be in the kitchen, I'd be cooking, I'd be making whatever recipes or doing banquets or whatever. Restaurant came first, and now father and husband, that's priority. And that's yes, cool. I've also got stuff that is brewing up that I hope that we will be able to speak about soon and come public. But I think when we announce these projects that we have, that everyone's going to be our whole communities. And I'm very, hopeful for it and very thankful for the opportunity that's ahead of me. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, you kind of said that you do the breakfast and stuff, but I was wondering who does the most of the cooking in your household? Is it you or your wife, or are you teaching your kids how to cook too?
Yeah, so I do most of the cooking, but we recently have some new tenants in our house, and by tenants I mean my in-laws.
Oh.
My mother and father-in-law is living with us for a few months, and there is no other boss chef that is cooks Filipino food like my mother-in-law. She's a ninja. I'm a mess in the kitchen, just cooking all over, doing this, and I want to use every single pot and pan in it. And then she makes these meals, and like she's in the garden. You walk in the house, it's like, when did you just make this pot of food? And there's always a pot of food on the stove now. So my mother-in-law cooks. My kids, I think I have one of them, especially my daughter Quinn, which she just recently actually just won a media award for in the state. It was one of the top video things, but she's 10 years old, tenacious, ferocious cook to become chef to be, because every day she's making some type of project. They might not all come out. Talk about somebody that when you have a mess up, what do? This girl does not. She's like, oh well, on to the next. Yeah, she was making seared sushi nigiri the other day. I'm like, what are you doing?
Wow.
It's like I'm making sushi. I was like, yo, okay. But I love it. All my kids are definitely foodies, especially my girls. I'm deadly terrified for their future boyfriends, because I've created some monsters that will tell you what is delicious and what is not. So yeah, this is definitely a chef's household that we celebrate food to the Most High. Yeah.
Do you have tips for cooking with little ones, or how did you first start teaching them how to cook?
Well, I like inviting them to cook with me when it's their favorite thing that they like to eat. You know, so one of my daughters loves eggs, so we started with how to properly cook eggs. Let's properly boil them. How to make a sunny side, how to make an over easy egg. For my son, he loves spaghetti more than anything. You know, so I'll let him boil noodles and taste it when it's ready. You know, it's like, is it ready yet? It's not ready. All of that, and yeah, just kind of keeping things fun, and making food a discovery. They're adventurous in a way that they'll taste anything, they'll try it. They might be picky in some certain things, but they'll at least try it. And yeah, we try to keep things light and fun, because yeah, we use food as everything, as a celebration, as a discipline, right? As a positive and negative. So just learning to respect food, that's all.
That kind of reminds me of your advice for choosing a cookbook. You said like look for what recipes intrigue you. So like I see that thread of like following your interest and what excites you.
Yeah, totally. Like I said, I want to cook what I want to eat. I'm a better eater than I am a chef beyond. And I like to think that I'm a pretty good cook, But,
let's see. Is there any other questions that you were hoping I would ask?
Oh, shoots. You put me on the spot. No, I don't know. No, it's like I'm actually looking.
Talk about the food bank.
Yeah. What else do we do other than running Tin Roof? Like our cookbook has now provided 202,000 meals on Maui. All cookbook sales that from our restaurant, 100% of the proceeds have gone to the Maui Food Bank, and it's something that we're very proud about. And it's just like a simple thing that I love, that the book continues to feed people. Might not be directly from these recipes, but it's doing that in other ways too. Yeah, we love it. We're expanding Tin Roof, so we're making our footprint larger so that we can feed more people and get them get more efficient service. I never thought, my restaurant. I've had many restaurants, large and big, and in hotels. Our 520 square foot spot has fed a lot of mouths and made a lot of people happy, and we're excited to be included in our community. So we're expanding that. Maybe we can at least have some walk-in and refrigerator space and proper prep area. But my cooks and my team, they do an amazing job every day out of that small little humble spot.
So you were joking before that you were kicked out of the kitchen there. Is that, do you ever cook there occasionally, or?
Oh yeah. I'm still there, but I have Chef Nolan Gonzalez. He runs the operations every day, and he's the one that's making the specials. You'll see on there alongside Chef Cody. But yeah, I have a team that I couldn't be more ambitious and couldn't be more passionate about what they're doing. And I'm trying to just keep on stoking that fire and then create opportunities for them, because I know that their abilities are beyond Tin Roof. That and they want to explore that, and they're willing to. They're so loyal to us, and I want to give them those opportunities. So if it's me letting them go and watching from a distance and letting them make their mistakes, right, and then coaching in them and mentoring them through those processes, I think it benefits all of us, and benefit this community, because those boys is some hammers, man. These guys are amazing.
I hope one day you expand your restaurants to Kauai.
Oh man, we used to travel to Kauai a lot, and I miss it. I want to come back. Kauai is a special place for sure.
Do you still travel a lot, or are you more home these days?
No, I have a lot of traveling coming up, and that's only started at the end of last year. When we promoted the book, that's why I created this studio, and we did Instagram lives here. We did Good Morning America, 3:00 in the morning in my garage, and that was the only way to promote the book. I couldn't do a tour or anything, so it was here. We were stuck here in Maui, and we did that for a few years. And at the end of last year, we started to travel. We went to New York and LA and all over the place, and it'll continue on this year again. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's all my questions. Thank you so much for your thoughtful answers. I think we're going to turn it over to our audience now for your questions. Let's see. We have a question from Carrie. Do you find that the food is different on each Hawaiian island? Does each island have a different culinary focus?
it blends all together, but each island has its own specific, things that they do. I think of it as provinces, like in the Philippines, where each ridge of the mountain may have a small little tweak of things. And in Kauai, I just learned the flan in the imu, just making, and rice pudding that they make in the imu there. And I was like, whoa, that's not something that I grew up with doing, but it's so prevalent in Kauai. Yeah, everyone has their own little tweaks. I find it very interesting when there is a very influential culinary family in a town. One like a family that cooks, at all the baby luau's, right? And they have their own specific way. Like here in Lahaina, like if you go to a Casco party, they'll have fried soup, which is a chow fun noodle. And yeah, I love seeing those families that cook for their community, and where the whole town shows up to the baby party because it influences that region or that town. Yeah, so kind of similar across the board, but those small little community chefs definitely make a difference.
Let's see. Another question from Carrie is, in your book, you write, slow and methodical. That was the Simeon way of cooking. When I came back home from culinary school, my dad would scold me for turning up the flame even a little. Everything high heat with you. He never rushed. He flowed. It was all a gentle simmer. So what cherished dishes from your childhood bubbled away on your family's kitchen stovetop?
Yeah, a lot of the we call it cut dishes. So a lot of the pork Filipino dishes, guisantes, which is pork and peas, igado, which is like a ofo stew made with the innards. Another is dinadraan, which is a blood stew. And then, yeah, a lot of those dishes, just like slow and simmering, getting the pork nice and tender. A lot of his stews and soups, lauya, oxtail soup, beef stew. Yeah, coming home from culinary school, it's like, cook it as fast as you can, even working in a restaurant. Get it done, make it efficient. Why are you taking so long? Like very Western minded of it. But yeah, it's those moments where you can slow down and really put your heart into every stir and every sip and taste that's going to make a beautiful dish.
We have another question from Dodie. How does sustainability fit into your cooking philosophy?
Sustainability. We are so lucky that we have a platform that was laid before us by the Hawaiians, where you take care of your land, you take care of your community, and it's gonna, in turn, they'll feed you and take care of you. And I really always look at that, whether it's like sourcing of my products and then sustaining also the lifestyle of my cooks. I make sure that they take their vacations. I make sure that they're healthy and they have their days off, because I need to sustain their lifestyle, and they need to be here, and we need to take care of that. So sustainability is huge. I'm always looking of, all the decisions I make, is it what's best for my family, what's best for my community, and that's what it's all about.
I think even how you're using the cookbook sales from Tin Roof for the Maui Food Bank, that's another way you're being sustainable.
It might be, sometimes you have to see what can you do. I cannot go out there and do community service just because of the busy schedule and doing all these other things. So if I can influence it in that way, I'll do it. And I'm always looking for, not looking, but I try to make it a part of our normalcy, and in the way that I live my life, is that I'm always thinking of community first.
Another question from Carrie, favorite North Shore spots?
Favorite North Shore spots? Not too. Yeah, not too keen on North Shore, especially in Oahu. I think I've been to Giovanni's once to the shrimp trucks out there. Yeah, sorry, I wish I could answer that question better, but yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I guess she was asking for Oahu. Let's see. I think that is our time. So Sheldon, again, thank you for spending this time with us and telling us more about your family and your book. Thank you to our host, Dr. Nicole Cook, the University of South Carolina's Augusta, Baker Endowed Chair, Publishers Weekly, and Penguin Random House Library Marketing. And last but never least, a special mahalo to our audience members. Thank you for joining us today and for submitting your questions. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for future viewing. And we hope that you'll join the next AAPI Communities in Conversation event on May 3rd with guest author Jai Chakrabarti and Janae Solomon of the University of Iowa Libraries. Have a good day. Bye.
Oh, thank you.